Hi, everybody. Welcome to Beyond the Batcast, where I, Adam Upper, talk with my buddy Brady Onketti about Batman, the animated series. And this week, we're talking about I've Got Batman in My Basement. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I am doing better than I was yesterday, as I was telling you before the show. Yeah, I finally I live in Toronto, and so I finally had a bit of a taste of Toronto, and there was a shooting across the street, so I just couldn't leave my house for a couple hours until until things got sorted out there for the most part. So, but other than that, I am doing okay, I suppose. It's actually was right outside right before we started recording, and it's actually kind of nice out today. So
Hmm.
I think we're so unless we get that weird that bad week, we should be heading right into spring, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be the first time in a long time you and I are going to Comic-Con, and there's not going to be snow on the ground.
Yeah, because I like yeah, because downtown it only it's the snow only stuck like once or twice so far like this season really. So
Yeah.
it's been a really mild winter this at least for me this year. So but yes, as I said, we are this week we talking about I've got Batman in my basement. The air date for this one was September 30th, 1992. Yeah, so we're kind of like all over the place. So the end of September. Do you remember what you were doing September 30th, 1992?
My parents had just been shot in a dark alley, and I was training in a Tibetan monastery with the League of Shadows. I joked to Adam earlier. I was like, because all these things are taking place in 1992, and I'm like, all right, I can improv as much as I can, but the barrel is definitely running dry with the material.
Yeah, and I know I was definitely like alive and cognizant like in 1992 because I keep on saying I was just starting grade eight, but fuck if I remember what I was doing like 30 years ago, let alone pregnant last week. So yeah, so this was the 13th episode produced, but the 20th episode to air. Written is written by Sam Graham and Chris Hubble, and directed by Frank Power. I think yeah, this is like our like third or fourth episode with him now. I think
Yeah, I've definitely noticed his name a
yeah,
couple of times.
I think this yeah, I definitely remember that name. Yeah. But and yeah, yeah, this is the first appearance of the Penguin, I think, too, right? If memory serves.
Yep.
But with that, as also what we were saying right before we started recording, that even though this is like the first appearance of Penguin in the animated series, the production team regards this as the worst episode of the series.
I will
I
say
know.
this much.
Yeah, what was the episode we were talking about before that was that we both thought was kind of not great?
Well, that was what I was going to say. The Underdwellers.
Yeah, Underdwellers. Oh, yeah, I was gonna say I just like the Underdwellers more than this one. Not not
I'm
not
the
not not
opposite.
not to say that this episode was good, but like I just like the Underdwellers like slightly more just because yeah, at least with the kids they didn't have that fucking dumbass Freya trying to be their leader for whatever reason. So,
So I
so
got plenty of Sewer King jokes out of that because that's just the kind of person I am. Just kick a dog while it's, lying on the street. Like, makes me sound horrible. But, um, you know, kick a bad thing when it's down. I mean, Adam, take that out of the recording. But yeah, no, I I think this is going to be interesting because you liked this, or sorry, you liked Underdwellers more than this. I
Yeah,
liked this.
I'm saying Underdwellers was worse than this one. So I like that. This
Oh,
one
so we're
was
in
like,
agreement. Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah. So this one was like slightly better than Underdwellers. Yeah,
Okay. I
by
thought it
like
was the
marginally
opposite.
better. No, yeah. Underdwellers was fucking yeah. Still, it's still like I feel it still is like the worst episode over this one because yeah, I said like what was Buddy's name again? Like the bad guy in that one. What was his name?
Sewer King.
Oh yeah, Sewer King. Yeah, like yeah, he was the worst, and he was like made for the episode. He wasn't like from the comics, right? if I
Yeah.
remember correctly. Yeah,
Like
okay,
I
yeah.
have no idea what they were thinking with that guy. It's beyond me. Like I know you're never gonna bat 100 all the time, but what the hell? Like
Yeah, that was a bad episode. Yeah, so I will say this is, yeah, Mart at least Mart. Not as I said, not to say that this was a great episode, but at least this episode was at least better than that one. So with that, I disagree with the production team on this one. That I like this one a bit better.
yeah,
And two, and with this one too, like we don't even see like Bruce Wayne throughout the entire episode. It's like all Batman.
that's a good point. Yeah, and even Batman's not even really doing much because as we're gonna get into the story, he's mostly unconscious for the whole
Yeah.
episode.
So with that, like the episode starts off with two guys running across rooftops, and you see them cutting a triangle to the glass instead of a circle. Which so if they're doing that, you would almost lead you to believe that they're going for diamonds. You would think, right, instead of going for a Fabergé egg. Were you thinking that too? When they do that, and then they put the claw thing through the glass, or is it
To
just
be
me?
honest, to be honest, the thing that I was more kind of confused by was, and I speak as someone who has barely any like visual arts, like ability to animate. The choice of making the Fabergé egg, I think they were going for this kind of sparkle effect, but if anything, it makes it look like it's irradiating like red. It
Yeah, the
looks like,
orange or whatever. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I'm just like, I
the
don't
orange
know
aura
what
to
you're
it. Yeah,
going for.
yeah. Or I kind of took that as it was like some sort of like fuel to be like if it got broke, like like motion sensor or something like that, or like lasery stuff or that. That's initially why I took that as instead of it just being sparkly. But
I'm
yeah,
not gonna
I don't know
I'm
why
not
they
gonna lie,
decided.
I thought that they were smuggling red kryptonite in those eggs.
Yeah,
Made the episode better.
is there ever a Superman reference in this show? Do you remember?
I think that Clark doesn't become Superman until after this show ends and the new Batman series has began. Like it's the
Oh,
continuation of this show.
okay. So instead of cutting a circle into the glass like you would think they do, the bad guys cut in triangle, sorry, into the thing, steal a Fabergé egg, and then get away. You're like, oh, see, this is quite. That was actually a little too easy to be stealing the Fabergé egg. I think. You're like, yeah, it was a little too easy, 5 minutes, and then Batman shows up and said, yeah, that will get you 5 years, which I think is a bit of a light sentence for stealing a Fabergé egg, no? Because they're supposed to be like really expensive, right? And like rare and expensive,
Like what
or
judge is he
one.
sending them to?
Yeah. Or is it just like Gotham Judge? You're like, yeah, we have bigger fish to fry. There's guys trying to fucking poison the water system every other week. So Fabergé egg, yeah, for a couple years, why not? Like we need to get other guys in here post haste. So don't want to take
The
up their.
judicial system lines at like Gotham City Courthouse must be like Christmas Eve day shopping at the mall.
So with that, they fights with the bad guys. And did you pick up the voice of one of the bad guys? That it was
No, I
Robert
can't say
Paul.
I did.
Yeah, one of them was Robert Paulson.
Where do I know that name from?
It's like like he's a big time voice actor for these. Like probably best known from like the Animaniacs.
That's what I was saying. Like, it sounds like
Yeah,
someone from the Animaniacs. I just
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
which character.
Yeah. It was like from he's done like a bunch of voices on there, but yeah, but Robert Paulson was one of them. Yeah, so as soon as he said the first like word or two, I was like, oh, I know that voice, and had to stop and look, go on to IMDb. And they was suiting because for us it would be in a couple weeks, but when this airs, it'd be like a month and a half ago. In Toronto, there's a show at Roy Thompson Hall. It's like the Animaniacs in concert with an orchestra, and it's
Well,
Maurice
that's
LaMarche
awesome.
it's Maurice LaMarche and Robert Paulson doing the songs from the show, like from the Animaniacs. So obviously he's going to do the country name song, and probably like the obviously probably like the Animaniacs theme and probably Pinky and the Brain theme. I would imagine too. I would think, and then whatever, and all other music from there too. So that'd be that's happening on the 30th, I think, for us. But yeah,
Do
this will be
tonight, Penguin. I gotta kill Batman. What do you friggin' think we're gonna do?
same thing we do every night. Try to kill the Batman. So yeah, so with that, Batman tussles with the bad guys, and then a vulture swings up and claws at Batman and tears a claw mark in his cape. And does the vulture grab the egg or no, or does or what I actually forget what happens with that.
To be honest,
Is
so
that
do I.
or are they distracted by that, and that's when I think that's when I think he gets distracted by the vulture, and then the penguin shows
Yeah.
up and then hits him with the nerve gas or whatever, which I thought was weird, because it looked like he hit him with like a beanbag instead of like you would think it would have happened with with the umbrella thing. It would just be like a spray into his face, and
Yeah.
that knocked him out instead of shooting like a ball of gas at him, and then that
Well,
knocking him out.
did he get hit by the
Right?
nerve gas here? Because I think there's a whole thing with the birdseed factory before that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Fuck yeah. Fuck. Yeah, I
Yeah.
missed.
It's a
Yeah,
cartoon. Things are gonna
yeah,
bleed together.
yeah, skipping ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm just gonna make the note that Batman experiences Birdemic. I'm like picturing him with a coat hanger fighting this thing, hiding in a phone booth. Like, what's her name
Yeah,
there?
like the like birds. That
Yeah,
Alfred Hitchcock movie.
he's on the phone calling Gordon. Commissioner, send back up. There's a killer bird after me. Yes, I'm serious. Yeah, so he's fighting off the bird. The thugs get away, and he only the I think he finds like a clue of bird seed.
Oh yeah,
And
he's like, sorry, go ahead.
no, yeah, he finds the bird seed. While this is going on in the suburbs, there's two kids, Sherman and Roberta. So Sherman's this kind of nerdy kid, and Roberta's, I guess, like this kind of tomboy girl.
Yeah.
And they're going through a junior detective kit that Sherman's got, and they're getting kind of bullied around by these two kids, one of which looks kind of like Fonzie. Like they're going for this kind of jig
Hey.
vibe. Hey. And
So, yeah, so that is so like I want to say the Fonz grabs like the binoculars from the junior detective kit and looks up and he's like, "Hey, there's like an eagle up there," and then the kid's like, point like Poindexter, so the kid fucking knows Mr. Know-It-All kid over here. Yeah, Frank grabs the binoculars. He's like, "Hey, that's not an eagle. That's a I'm gonna say vulture, but it was like somewhat of a rare vulture, or like a vulture that was, oh no, South American vulture, yeah. So obviously one that's not like a vulture that wouldn't necessarily be native to North America. If there are, I assume there's like vultures that are native to North America. I would assume, right? I would
I
think.
would think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I believe that's the thing. Yeah,
But the fact that he was able to figure out it's like a
yeah,
bird from another country, and
yeah.
this
That's
is
what that's why I
pre-internet.
was. Yeah, I was gonna say that's why I was calling the kid Poindexter Mr. Know-It-All. Yeah, because he does a few times through the episode where he's like, where he's knows stuff for that because he like points out that it's like because at one point he references the Bat Cave, and I was like, how the fuck do you know about the Bat Cave, kid? Like,
I was gonna bring that up later on. Like, is Alfred like there's a meme, I gotta send you it, of like Batcave 1 mile, and the caption underneath it is Batman saying, "Note to self, fire Alfred." Like, how does the kid know about the Batcave?
exactly, yeah. So the kid sees the vulture and he's like, hey, they points out that it's a South American vulture, and then do they jump on their bicycles or just start walking and they kind of follow it because like the kid says like, hey, this is basically unheard of, like obviously because the kid actually knows something that he was able to point out that it was a South American vulture or just a vulture in general really make it going into the suburbs or even and then like into the city because I would think that they'd be a bit more like solo animals and probably just like feed off like of like dead animals and stuff. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't be a bird that you would see like in the city limits, I wouldn't think.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that just occurred to me. This kid's following a vulture. You realize the chances are pretty strong this vulture is going to find a dead body. Like, are we about to see like Stand By Me, Batman animated series style?
Yeah, Stand By Me too. Stand By Me again, Batman edition.
Oh, look, you found my parents. I've been looking for them.
Yeah,
So
so
they
yeah, so
uh,
the vulture flies to like an abandoned birdseed factory. So that's yeah, so the kids they make it there, and then I think what was it? Like yeah, I think they yeah. So the penguin must have gotten the Fabergé egg from Batman, or what? Or Batman wasn't able to get it from the thugs, because another thing the kid knows that he saw the Fabergé egg and was able to fucking point it out. Like, what 10-year-old kid knows what a Fabergé egg is?
well, I think he said even because even like Roberta, the girl, is like, you know what that is? He's like, don't you read the newspaper or a newspaper? And yeah,
Oh yeah,
the
and that's it. And she says only the does the comics count. Like, yeah, that's the correct answer from a fucking 10-year-old is
yeah.
reading the comics because that's the only part of the newspaper I read when I was 10 years old because what the fuck yeah, I don't understand what the hell else is going on. I can like read the words, but like it shit going on. Like I lived like just outside like Toronto growing up. So yeah, like most of the stuff was like, yeah, this and that, and like shit going on in Toronto. I'm like, that means nothing to me. I have no idea what the fuck's going on in Toronto, so this means nothing to me. So of course I'm going to be reading Frank Garfield and the Fireside and shit.
This kid
So
is
like,
absolutely reading the finance section of the newspaper and being like, look, Amazon went up 14%. And these kids like, what is Amazon? What are you talking about?
oh yeah, and then too, and even as you said, like I think it wasn't even before, yeah, if it was during the recording beforehand, like the internet wasn't available. So even if the kid was reading the newspaper and saw a Fabergé egg, like I first off, I wouldn't be like, hey, that word means Fabergé because I probably because it's a French word, so I probably would be like the Fabergé egg, and then
Fabrici.
two, yeah, then two, I'd be like, what the fuck is that? Is that some weird like cooked egg that I know like the cousin of the deviled that had deviled eggs or whatever? I have no idea what the fuck that is, so I can't look on the internet because it's 1992. Actually, I think the internet was just starting to become like available to the public. And this was like 6 years before Google was a thing
Yeah.
because Google was 1998. So yes,
That
yeah,
sounds right. Yeah.
so kids, both of us are older than they had, older than Google.
Yeah.
my
Which is
my no,
surreal when you say it out loud.
and to top that off, my email address is older than Google. My main address, email address that I still use because I was like I think April 1994 is when I started that. Like in like at near the end of grade nine.
Yeah. So what did you think of the first appearance of the penguin here?
Uh, it was a good like first experience because it kind of shows like he was going for a Fabergé egg, so it kind of like he's kind of like the hoity-toity like businessman, like high fat not high fashion, not like criminal of the Batman's rogues, really, right? So yeah, so it kind of is a good thing too. And yeah, even though it wasn't a penguin, yeah, like is there any other Batman villains that deals with like animals at all, really, other than Penguin or other than like Joker
Um,
and his two hyenas, really? Is there any
well,
other like animal?
there's Catwoman.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Who else? There's got to be like a whole plethora
But
of
yeah, I
like
was like,
the rogues gallery that has yeah, kind of like their animal gimmick and stuff like that. More so it's Spider-Man who has more of the animal theme villains.
yeah, I guess yeah, that would be the more of that really. Yeah, so I definitely like the like that, and I'm
And
surprised that he
Penguin,
didn't. Sorry, I'm surprised he didn't have any penguins like kicking around at his base or whatever. But I guess he did probably didn't want to bring in like two different types of birds in the same episode. I guess even if
yeah,
one doesn't fly.
back in your cage. Yeah, the
But yeah,
penguin that they got here is definitely got a little bit of inspiration from Batman Returns, which I think came out the same year as this show.
yeah, yeah,
And
1992. Yeah.
but he's, yeah, definitely more sophisticated. To me, honestly, he kind of looks like Ben Franklin. He's got a skullet, like, like those like mullets that are like just very kind of like refined looking. And he he makes this squawk to call the vulture.
Wow, wow. Wow,
Yeah,
wow. So yeah,
that's
so
what I
Batman.
thought. I'm like, is this going to be the new Burgess Meredith? Wah, wah, wah. And
Wow.
I'm like, because this is not, like, this is just embarrassing. Thankfully,
Yeah,
he only
so
did it once.
yeah, so Batman Returns came out June 19th, 1992. Yeah, so about July, August, September. It's like 3 months before this episode came out.
Yeah,
But yeah, but at least with this penguin, there was less like body horror than in the movie, really. Body horror
yeah, they're
penguin.
definitely not going for that Tim Burton gothic vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing. Like, even though like this show took a lot of like a lot from like the Tim Burton Batman movies, I'm glad they didn't take like the Tim Burton effect or either of the movies really, which I guess that Tim Burton does make like decent movies, but I kind of don't like Tim Burton movies really as a whole.
It's definitely, yeah, not gonna
It,
be a size that fits everybody's kind of
yeah,
taste. But yeah, like it even Batman Returns is more divided in the Batman community than you would think.
yeah, yeah. Because I remember like for the longest time I was like, it's okay, like, but then I watched like in December at that theater in Carlton Street I go to because it was like they were showing like kind of like Christmas adjacent movies there, and so obviously they had that Batman Returns there, and it was like okay, I liked it a bit more than I remember, but still, yeah, I still had the Tim Burton effect on it, and then so it was yeah.
How many times can you see black, white, and red? Because that's like 95% of his color palette choices. So
Yeah,
yeah, Batman is in the birdseed factory, going to save the kids. And yeah, that's when he gets hit by the gas pellet from the umbrella. So the kids end up on a conveyor belt. And did you catch this? The kid definitely hit the switch to the off position, but for some reason, I replayed this like 5 times. For some reason, it sends him forward towards the gears of the conveyor belt to be flattened. I'm like, okay, this was like very staring in your face. Like, I was kind of surprised. Like, I know that like it's going to be a bit of a rush out the door to get an animated project in there, but the fact that they specifically put it to off, they wrote the letters OFF on that. I was like, really?
off means go.
You go on red in this universe. So the kids are getting rushed out the door by Batman after he's dropped like what has to be hundreds of pounds of birdseed on Penguin on his thugs. Like they should be dead, but whatever. Um, and they get into the Batmobile as Batman's kind of feeling the effects of this gas. And by the time
or
that
yeah,
the kids,
or Batman almost gets there, and then the kids like kind of follow him, and then realize that he didn't make it. So and then they jump in the Batmobile, and
Mhm.
because they're both kids, that like Poindexter can't reach it, so he gets his sister to hit the gas for him, and then or like almost hit that Penguin and his guys, or actually hit him at some point. Well, actually, yeah, I think they do actually hit Penguin, and he's hang on to the car, and then the kids like going back and forth, almost like hitting off buildings and stuff. So like Batman's going to have to take the car to the shop after he wakes
Yeah,
up from the gas, and then with that, the Penguin gets caught on like on a fire escape or something, I think.
yeah, something like that.
So
Speaking of
yes,
fire, I was picturing what happens because the kid is like pushing at all these buttons at random. What if he's like set the afterburner into overdrive with Penguin and his guys right behind him and sets
like
the Penguin on fire?
Yeah, like yeah, just so yeah, I mentioned that these kids did a better job driving the Batmobile than Alfred did flying the Batwing. Like that time, like a few episodes back, because like Alfred should have a better grasp at vehicles, and depending on which version of Alfred this is, he may have flown planes like in a World War before.
And we've
Like yeah,
established this. Alfred is consistently drunk. Oh
But
yeah,
yeah,
that's a good
these,
point.
yeah, but two, and not just one kid, but two kids friggin' operating the car, like as one, drive better than Alfred could fly. And this is also after it showed that like Batman had a little button on his belt to bring the Batmobile to him, so they should have. So when the kid was randomly friggin' pressing buttons, one of them should have been like, "Go home," because I
Yeah, you
got hit with
think?
I was like because I got hit with gas button, and then I should have taken him back to the Batcave that the kid fucking knows about somehow before they get there.
Yeah, it's like he learned nothing from his experience at Boss Biggis's prison camp. Like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes I get knocked unconscious.
he amnesia. He had amnesia, so that means he didn't remember. That's how that works, right?
But even just like a homing device or something.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, because he got unbonked on the head in that, so that means whatever he did remember, he forgot. So it's all the stuff switches places, so he didn't remember to do
true.
that.
So yeah, the kids manage to outrun Penguin and his thugs, and they take Batman. It's so funny saying this out loud. These kids carry Batman down to his basement and just drop him on the couch, which
Uh,
obviously gives you the title Batman in my basement.
which with them being kids, like first off, like I'm not knowing what to do with Batman stuff, but like with Sherman, the kid, like the boy, like he's like shown like again like with another episode with that the kids in there, kind of showing kids that are like actually kind of smart instead of just being dumbass kids. Like
Mm.
after like being the shock of being chased by Penguin and like running into Batman and driving his car and stuff, they sort of like come to and be like, hey, I have Batman in my basement. I should probably call my parents and or the cops.
Well, apparently the reason why he didn't do that is because he's like, no, we have to protect our client. I think the police can protect him better than you,
Yeah,
even in Gotham City.
like and how is he a client? Like like if they go with like the junior detective, like it's not like junior PI, so that's not like they hired you to be like, hey, protect me or find out who fucking knocked me out or whatever. So that makes that makes no sense.
Dude, I think that Sherman's got a bit of a dark side to him because did you notice what was on the wall of his rec room? He has
I
a
did not.
poster of the Joker's face. This is a 10-year-old kid with a picture of a serial killer. Like, if you went into a kid's basement and saw a poster of Ted Bundy, you'd have some questions. Like, I'm a little concerned. And his mom mentioned earlier in the episode, you're not trying to make gunpowder again, are you? So this kid is trying to make, like, these are warning signs, people.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
I'm
did you
sorry
see
you
it?
think he brought Batman here to die.
Oh yeah, Sherman, did you see what happened to the dog?
We had a dog. Batman's just taking Sherman to Arkham Asylum before he has his first kill. We're going on a road trip, Sherman. Then why'd you put me in a straitjacket?
So after getting Batman in the basement and stuff, like the two kids that were bullying Sherman showing outside and like were they just throwing something like back and forth to each other, or they just pick up a rock and just chuck it into whatever sort of thing? Yeah,
I think
do
they
you
just
remember?
picked up a rock. They're just
Yeah,
horsing
they're
around.
like yeah. So as boys do, because hell, I've that's probably something I've done many a time growing up, and then and then with that they hit a bunch of cardboard boxes and show the Batmobile, and then one says to the other like, hey, what's that? Even if you don't have to be a friggin' smart kid, you should should have a general idea of what the Batmobile looks like in Gotham City,
Yeah,
especially
like if a tank
like
drove down your home street, you'd know about it.
yeah, yeah, like adults I can see like not carrying and not knowing what Batmobile is or will look like, but kids would be like, "Hey, cool, a Batmobile." So obviously, so there's no way like these two like random like teenage boys probably have zero idea what the Batmobile is.
All of Fonzie's hair gel is like damaging his brain from like the scalp inward. Yeah, and the Vulture actually follows them because I guess Penguin sent him out to like do a reconnaissance to find out where the egg was and where Batman is. And the kids all kind of regroup when they realize like Batman is in in Sherman's basement, and the Penguin gets there with his thugs, and he uses the Vulture to bite through the phone lines. I'm like, all right, would Vulture not be like immediately electrocuted to death?
Yeah, you would think so, yeah.
Yeah. Like you'd think Penguin of all people would have more safety concerns when it comes to a bird.
Yeah,
Just
because he loves
just
his
bite
birds,
right
yeah.
through
So
that thing. It's fine. Like in this universe, was Penguin the one who caused the miracle on the Hudson? Just sending those birds through the plane turbulence.
there's transporting
He
money
thought
in
that
that
the
plane, so
he thought Sully's plane was the bat wing. Like,
no, or it's a plane from Cliffhanger and has a bunch of money on it, so you figured
yeah.
it had to crash.
Oh, cliffhanger. That takes me back. Oh yeah. So yeah, the thugs are trying to break in. Also, I noticed Pink's got street smarts. He's not stupid enough to go straight into these kids' house, not knowing what's going on. Like I guess Penguin's seen Home Alone. And as
Well,
it
yeah,
turns out,
that's why you have thugs for is to go send them in and do your bidding for you. It's like if you're the boss, like that's what bosses do. You get the guys to do your shit for you. And
yeah,
also, you saw Home Alone.
yeah. So yeah, the kids have like gone through Batman's belt and they're using like the gadgets in his belt as like basically as just like Kevin McAllister used like a bunch of like the tools and things laying around his house to defend themselves. But like these things don't have instruction manuals. So like I mean obviously you can figure out what a batarang does,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
half
but
these gadgets they don't know what they do. They're just going on sheer luck and button mashing.
and before that happens, like when the kids are first see the Batmobile, they go in and then with when the kids hit the cardboard boxes, Lord Sherman, he looks out and he comes out and then he finds the pills, the anti-gas pills or whatever the fuck they were in the visor, and he's like, "Oh, that's what Batman is trying to say," because in his
Oh, that's right.
haze of
Yeah.
being half knocked out. He's like pills and Pfizer or whatever it was, and then he figures out that's what it is. So he gives him one of the pills, and then after the two thugs come in after the Penguin sends him in, he finally comes to and helps the kids like take out the Penguin and his thugs.
Well, you have Batman when he's like still kind of weaning off of this like knockout gas, dueling the Penguin with a screwdriver.
Like, take that.
I was like, I mean, props for MacGyvering your way out of the situation, but yeah, like, sure, you do you, man.
Yes. As you Brian asking earlier, with what I thought about the Penguin, the first appearance of Penguin, this episode does show that he has multiple umbrellas for stuff because we had like the gas pelt and also the sword one, and also I think when Batman was still knocked out, he had an umbrella that had like a spinning blades on her, like a propeller type blade, and it was coming up to his face, and that's when Batman comes to and grabs it,
Yeah, he was
snaps it,
gonna
and that's when he starts
buzzsaw
fighting
Batman's face off in front of children. And Sherman's just like sitting there in the corner, just like, yes, do it, do it,
Yeah, just like the Emperor, do it.
do it. Oh, you know where I live, Adam. You're speaking my language. But yeah, then yeah, he takes care of Penguin and the thugs. And that's when Sherman's mom walks through the door, sees her house destroyed, like unknown mobster and her his henchman lying in her basement, and it's just got this WTF look on her face.
And she's like, Sherman, what's going on? And he's like, oh no, did he said he has like just helping out Batman or something like that? Or does he say it? And she doesn't believe him, and then she comes out and actually sees Batman.
I think
She's like,
so,
oh,
yeah.
oh shit.
And,
Oh, so you're not pulling a Phineas and Ferb, and you actually do have Batman in your basement.
and that's when the show I love the moments in this show where I think of a bit and then 2 seconds later they do exactly what I'm thinking. Because as soon as Batman saw his mom, I was thinking, so is dad still in the picture? And Sherman is trying to hook Batman up with his single
Oh,
mom.
because he says like she's single or something like that.
Yeah. Like he doesn't
I've
know
only
who's
got
under that mask. Like he could be
uh,
setting his mom up with a crazy person. Oh wait, it's
well,
Batman. It's a crazy person.
yeah, I've only got the hots for Justice and Catwoman.
Yeah. So
So
the
yes,
episode ends with Sherman and Roberta, and I guess these two bullies that they have trauma bonding now, are setting up their own detective agency, and they're going to go through like a couple cases, and it ends with Batman, waiting outside Sherman's house, I guess waiting for his mom to, like be, getting some free time for her to pick her up in the Batmobile. Watching this neighbor next door seeing
right,
Bat.
right, or he was there to try and get another Robin, but he's like, "Oh, these kids are a little too independent. I can't have the they won't listen to me." So I gotta go for Dick Grayson because he's got to have no parents. Not he's got not one, none.
He's got his backup Robin already in mind, which we've established is in character with Batman. But yeah, I'm picturing like the neighbors watching Batman, like just like waiting outside the window, just mumbling to himself, "Sherman's mom has got it going on."
And then the neighbors next door is like, Is Batman creeping on those kids? Like looking in the window and like singing to himself? Like what's he doing looking in that window? Oh, he's just walking away and following those kids. Like what the fuck's going on?
Can't even call the police because the police.
But he's buddies with Commissioner Gordon, so he can't call the cops. So like, what's he doing out there, man? Like, do I call the Joker now? Like, does the Joker have a like a card that I can call?
Oh man, at what point is the Joker necessary?
Like, will Two Face get rid of him? Like, what's going on here? Like, do I need to call a Penguin to get his like Vulture to take him out? Like, what's going on?
At least he'll kill that evil Sherman kid. Oh, but yeah, that's
All right.
that's Batman in my basement.
So, what would you give this episode out of five basement Batman?
You know what, man? Like I said, I liked it more than Underdwellers, but yeah, this episode sucks. Like it's funny bad. The Penguin did get a good introduction. I think for the most part, he got
Yeah,
kind of respectful adaptation. I mean,
yeah,
the fact that
hit all the points for the Penguin. Like, he's a
yeah,
little fancy. He's a little guy. He has birds, and he has trick umbrellas. You
yeah,
know,
it's pretty like the character writes itself, right?
yeah, yeah.
And
So,
I thought that this story could have worked. The problem was you could very much tell that they were stalling for time, which in
yeah,
an 18-minute show, really? Like,
yeah. Like
yeah, how about you?
they barely had Batman in this episode. Yeah, yeah. As I said, like I like this one marginally better than Underdwellers. Yeah, so I probably I think that I gave that one a 2.5. I think 2 or 2.5. So I give this. Yeah, I think I give this one a 2.75. What did I say?
That Sherman needs to die.
Yeah, no, 2.5 out of 5 of whatever things I said that were out of 5.
Yeah.
for this episode. But so yeah, good introductory episode, but it's like a kid centered episode, so and kids kind of suck. So so that's why it doesn't get 3 or above for this episode. Any last words on the for this episode?
Maybe what Batman wasn't even unconscious. Maybe he was just tired and wanted to crash on a couch for a couple hours. You and I have both done
Or
shift work. You know what it's like.
oh yeah, or he's like, as I said, he was trying to test out Robin, so he was just faking it to see if they can kind of take out one of the supervillains from his rogues gallery. But all right, folks, that is the episode for this week. Thanks, for listening to us in the Batcave. Yeah, we're on for however long it's been. Ooh, and next week's episode is going to be a special episode, as it is Heart of Ice, the first appearance of Mr. Freeze. And if all things go as planned, we might have a guest even.
Hmm. You might
Super
even
special.
say that the perfect first guest, considering it's the reason Adam and I actually met up in the first place.
So tune in next week for a super special episode, yeah. And follow us on Twitter/X at Beyond Backcast, on Instagram at Beyond the Backcast, and follow us and give us reviews on any of the major podcast streamers you will find us on at Beyond the Backcast. And Braden, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me on Instagram at Alfred is Zaddy,
Oh,
and I
Zaddy.
help the Facebook page out with Adam. Just type in on the Facebook search Beyond the Backcast.
At Beyond the Backcast, yeah. And you can find me at Stump Chunkman on Instagram. And you can follow and listen to my other podcast I do sometimes at the Multiverse of Marvel on wherever you can find a podcast. Yeah, and thanks for joining us in the Batcave to talk about Batman the Animated Series at Beyond the Backcast. Goodbye, good chums. Kapow.